from the depths. We are going into battle with the Lightning Hoods here. Now, off camera, I've been doing a bit of combat against the Lightning Hoods, using our combined forces, using the Aboleth submarine and also the Dark Mantle and the Cornigon. And while it works, what I found is everything else is too fast for the Aboleth. It's not something that I really considered when I was making the Aboleth, but everything else is too fast for it. And so what happens is the Aboleth does really well at the start of the battle because things are still close by. But once the battle gets going, all these other vehicles that are going 80, 90, 170 meters per second take their battles just everywhere. They go entire tiles away as they're fighting. And that leaves the poor Aboleth, which moves at a lovely 20 meters per second, behind in the dust. And so it becomes sort of useless when it's combined with these super fast moving vehicles, because the enemy ships are also super fast moving. So what I've done is I've built 5 Aboleths, our nice fleet of submarines, and we're going to attack the Lightning Hoods with just that and see how it goes. Because I have the feeling that when we've kind of taken the speed asset away from them, which is to say, because they have to come to us, and we have particle cannons, which are very good at hitting fast-moving targets, then we might be able to take some of their advantage away from them. Plus, I really like watching the Aboleth in action. It's a weird fighting ship because it does that back and forth motion when it fights. So I'll hop onto that one there, and let's get into it. I am keeping the block count down so that we are only spawning 2 Aboleths at a time, and it looks like they're spawning probably 4 ships or so here. Now, I will start by saying that I have turned off degraded mode. Degraded mode will not come on anymore. And that does mean I am probably going to have to keep the block count in battles limited to no more than about 125,000. But, you know, we'll just see how things play out. Here comes our lovely swarm of missiles. Something I did play around with a good bit, the missile swarm. But, you know, they're being kind of weird now because the submarine is still going down into its depth. And it actually, before it stabilizes at minus 50, it goes a little deeper and then comes back up. Alright, big explosion going on here somewhere. This is something new. What is this thing? That's the dagger. We've seen the dagger. This is a cathode. Oh, that's cool. That is a cool looking ship, and that poor dagger is just being annihilated. And again, you can tell that their lasers, the enemy lasers, don't do a great job of damaging us, just because we are underwater and we do have strength 4 or 5 shields all the way around this thing that do switch over to laser shields if it gets hit by a laser. And there goes the dagger into the water, which is lovely. And of course, these missiles, once they get underwater, are not going to be able to use their thrusts, and so they should, unless they unless they get close enough to us before their thrusters turn off, they should be pretty harmless to us. You can see those are big, nasty missiles there that are rendered pretty much harmless just by our cruising depth. But yeah, there go the Aboleth's arms. It aims to fire at things sort of as they pass, so it's sort of a predictive thing. So it swims back and forth and will often aim in a direction that seems kind of illogical, but is actually just sort of predicting where the enemy's going to be rather than where it looks like they are now. And so you can see, since we don't need to land there, you can see it's aiming. It's going to be aiming at that scorpion there. But as it passes, now there go the torpedo interceptors that should do some pretty good work there. And yep, we are going to hit the land there. That is a shame. Is this the one we're in? It is the one we're in, so I can do something about that. Let's turn on our water drive. Let's get us a little away from that. Now, I have set a depth requirement for this thing. There's a good hit there, you can see. with EMP particle cannons. I have set a depth requirement for the Aboleth, so it doesn't go anywhere that doesn't have a clearance of at least 75 meters. But that doesn't stop it from running into walls like that, so I just need to set up some collision control blocks so that if there's land or something like that in front of it, it's not going to just keep going straight ahead. Looks like both of our Aboleths are doing just fine, though. Still at 100%. That one's down to 99. We've got the Terrorot down to 96. Haven't hit the cathode yet. Doesn't look like we've really gone for it yet. Scorpion's down to 98. Now, the weird thing is, oh man, this is just a weird-looking battle, too, because it's things firing into and out of the water. Let's see if we get any missile hits on the Scorpion here. I know it has very good... Gotta happen at least once. I know it has very good anti-missile defenses, but it looks like we did get a couple of hits there. All it takes is a couple of hits, because those are pretty powerful missiles. And especially if they hit in a place where they can knock out the enemy's missile defense system, then we can just sort of cascade. And let's go ahead and hop back into the cockpit. Ooh, that's something I need to do, definitely. I need to change the color of my particle cannons so they're not just that boring white. I'll probably do a blue or something like that to match my other lasers that I have used. Yeah, it's nice to see these really big, very scary missiles just sort of pop back up out of the water uselessly as they try to hit us. And let's see. Looks like we've winged the cathode, but not done too much. And everything else has taken a good bit of damage. Yeah, this is going to be a difficult fleet to keep track of, I think, because, you know, you can't see the Aboleth and the enemy ships at the same time, and so it's going to be a little hard to see just where they are. What are we aiming at now? You are aiming at that Scorpion there. Okay. And doing some decent damage to it. Now again, you know, it might not look like 5, 6, or 7% damage is all that much, and to ships like, say, the Onyx Watch have, it isn't. That's not much damage at all. They can keep going until they're at like 60%. But the Lightning Hood ships are so they're so precise. There's so many moving parts in them. They rely on so much in order to stay mobile and to stay functioning that even 10% damage can put them in the water. Now then there's the Dagger, of course, which is just their little fighter and really stood no chance against our weapons. Looks like we got a great EMP hit there on the Scorpion, and its AI is dead immediately. That's lovely to see. That's what EMP particle cannons are really good at. It's just taking out their AI. And Scorpions, I think, have 2 AIs, maybe even 3, and so to have stripped all of them is pretty good. And normally what the Lightning Hoods do is they surround their AI, their mainframe, with heavy armor. But heavy armor takes full damage from EMP. It's not something that just sort of spreads it around. It takes full damage. And so their heavy armor just gets completely stripped off, and then there's nothing protecting the AI from the EMP damage. And then there's especially things like laser weapons, which are very vulnerable to EMP damage, as you might imagine. And laser weapon components now are actually very explosive, and so when they go, they can cause a pretty big chain reaction there. That is a cool ship, the cathode there. That's a really cool ship, and looks like they are going to get a couple of hits on us here. Their arms are sort of waving them off. Yeah, we took some big hits there. The Aboleth does have a fair amount of EMP protection throughout the inside, and excuse me, I'm sorry, I sneezed. I hope I managed to get far enough away from that. It does have a good bit of EMP protection on the inside, so hopefully it can withstand that pretty well. It looks like it's fine. Really, as long as its particle cannons are still working, that's all it really needs. It's not a particularly complex vehicle. And we're only down to 98%. Now, my concern, excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold here. My concern is, and has been, with the Aboleth fighting flying vehicles. Because obviously this is a submarine. That's not what it's designed for. But if we watch, we actually can get some pretty decent hits with that particle cannon, even against flying ships. And it looks like the cathode is actually fairly slow compared to most of their most Lightning Hood's flying vehicles. Some EMP damage still rocking through there, which is great to see. Wow, we just got 19,000 material from that Scorpion. That's pretty cool. And there I go again. What I should do is, rather than putting a cockpit at the front of a ship with glass protecting me, I should put it somewhere on the inside and then just be able to watch out through cameras. Wow, alright, we're gonna die again. That's cool. It's gotta happen at least once, often more like 3 times. Let's not land on the cathode as we go down, please. That is a really, really cool ship. I know I've said it many times. It looks like we hit it with the EMP there again. I know I've said it many times, but I love the design of the Lightning Hoods. It's just very alien. It's just very, very, like, classic UFO. You are fighting someone that is, or something that is, like, inherently different from you. And it has the feel of they are more technologically advanced than you. And if you're fighting them, it's like fighting a tank with a tractor. Or maybe more accurately, a skimmer armed with lasers with a tractor. So, alright, doing some pretty good damage to the cathode. Looks like a couple more of their ships have spawned in. They've got a crossbolt, another terawatt. The other terawatt over there, where is that? Because it seems to be destructing. I don't even see it. Am I going the right direction? Oh boy, it is hard to tell. It's at 91% and detonating, so I'm guessing we have destroyed its AI, but I don't even see it. Is it underwater now? Oh, yeah, it's underwater. So maybe it's not destructive. Maybe it just hit the bottom. Yeah. Probably our EMP did something very, very bad to this thing because it is currently upside down at the bottom of the ocean. So our EMP probably shut off something very vital to this. And now I will say I have been getting such amazing suggestions in the comments. And always, if you have a suggestion to make, please, please, please let me know. It was, in fact, a comment that someone left on one of my videos that suggested making a particle cannon submarine to fight the Lightning Hoods that led me to make the Aboleth. And now I'm kind of seeing why. Now, it looks like our other Aboleth is a little damaged. Let's hop over there and see what happened. Alright, looks like what probably happened is one of the lasers got through and blew up one of the ammo caches. Yeah, you can see its ammo is very low. Thankfully, the particle cannons don't need ammo to fire. It's just its missiles. It needs ammo to fire. So that's really not a big deal. The engines are very, very, very well tucked away with some very good protection. And so I'm not too worried about losing those. And that's really all that's necessary to keep the guns functioning. And thankfully, the guns are both very well armored, and they usually don't target them. You can see these are these are mimic blocks here, and so when they go away, it just sort of reveals the inside there, which is fine. I'll trade a little bit of metal armor for some aesthetically pleasing, at least to me, weapons. I love the idea that particle cannons need these big, bulky batteries with lots of tubes in order to fire. Okay. I'm surprised the dagger is still technically functional. It's at like 60-something% health now. And it's just sort of cruising along. It is a cool ship. It's very Star Fox-like. It does look like a Star Fox ship. Wrong colors, but the shape's right. The Star Fox colors are more like my colors, silver and blue. Looks like we are repaired back to pretty much full. The Aboleth does not have very many repair bots. I think there are maybe 10 total on the thing, and so it does repair kind of slowly, but again, it doesn't take that much damage, and so just to sort of mitigate the amount of resource we spend repairing, I've limited the number of repair bots that they have. And also, it's a very tight fit on the inside of the Aboleth, as you might imagine. Ooh, we're getting some good EMP hits on something. Looks like we're both firing on that terawatt over there. Which I don't see. And yeah, we may have sunk another terawatt. Okay, that's not something I was expecting, is the ability of the Aboleths to just cause the terawatts to sink, which is pretty cool. And very useful, you know, fighting against enemy ships that rely so much on speed. Bunch of our missiles coming out of the water here, I think, or maybe it's just confused enemy missiles. It's hard to tell at this point. Our missiles do actually last a good long time, though. I think they have a lifetime and fuel or thrust duration of about 80 seconds, and so they can really chase after things. This isn't a terawatt, is it? This is a crossbolt. You can see, though, at the top right there, the EMP damage is just sort of racking up. Even if what's probably happening is that Aboleths are firing their EMP at terawatts that are now under the water, and so we can't really see it happening. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have both of them fire at the cathode. Because, yeah, I believe both of these terawatts are probably out of the fight, just because they are, you know, sunk. Have sunken. Are sunk? No, are sunk. I'm an English teacher. I should know this. Are sunk. All right. So what the Aboleth is going to do now is this weird little dance, to where it sets itself up to aim at where the cathode is going to be heading. And it looks like we might actually have a better turning rate than the cathode does, and so it might be just trying to line up its weapons with it. I do like how we can kind of see the Aboleth, its arms poking up. There are lights. There are big blue lights on the particle cannons, and so that's really what helps to let you see it underwater. All right, looks like the other Aboleth took some damage there. Unfortunately, we're not completely immune to lasers down here, but we are pretty resistant to them. Looks like some EMP got us. I think maybe I'll need to add some more EMP shielding, because like I said, I do have some, but I was expecting to be hit by EMP things. Normally torpedoes are not EMP, and I know those aren't actually torpedoes, they're just very stubborn missiles. Wait, what's shooting us? Oh, it's a crossbolt shooting into the water. Cool. Don't tell me that dagger somehow got back in the air. It did! That dagger, at 63% health, sitting in the water, managed to get itself back up and into the air. Now that is impressive. That is a feat of engineering there. Alright, so it does kind of look like our battle has stalled a little bit here. I might need to... Let's go forward a bit, pal, so we get off that mountain. Yeah, definitely going to need to set up some control blocks to prevent it from driving into the sides of mountains and not just, you know, avoiding shallow water. But yeah, it looks like our battle has kind of stalled here. Probably what's going to happen is we're just going to keep shooting at the cathode until we get a good lucky hit on it. But I'm going to cut until something interesting happens, and I'll be back with you guys in a few. Alright guys, so I unfortunately didn't quite get the recording of this thing going down, but we hit it with, you can see, a very big EMP shot, and the cathode just plummeted into the water. Maybe 50 meters in front of us. Hopefully this Aboleth is going to be backing up lively here, so it doesn't ram the thing. That would be hilarious, by the way, if I destroyed an enemy thruster craft by ramming it with my submarine. I feel that'd be a very orky way of doing things. But yeah, we have dropped this thing pretty thoroughly, I'd say. And now that it's not moving, it is kind of a sitting duck for our particle cannons, which are happily sitting here and aiming at it. Although we are going to back up a bit, you know, for safety. The rest of the fight, I've been swimming towards one of the terawatts, by the way, because both of these are underwater. And since they're underwater, I feel no guilt capturing them, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. The enemy crossbolt over here is just getting absolutely hammered by missiles, even if the Aboleths themselves are not focusing on it. Their missiles are having a field day, just sort of smacking it around. And its lasers are doing basically nothing to us, since they have to fire so far through the water. Interestingly, the dagger is still there. The dagger is still there. So, yeah, I will... Oh man, this Aboleth is not sure what to do in this situation. You can tell it looks kind of confused. I know I'm sort of anthropomorphizing here, but it looks kind of confused. Its arms like, whoa, 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 hang on, back up, man, back up. All right, so I'll cut for a bit more, and we'll come back probably as we're wrapping up this battle. There's not a whole lot left to fight. Okay, well, this is the end of the battle here. We absolutely obliterated everything in this fleet very, very thoroughly. All that's left is a Hippotos, which I have damaged to the point where it's, well, you know, it's doing that thing in From the Depths where when ships get shot down, they actually get shot up, and it's falling into space. So I'm hoping that my very long-range missiles are able to destroy this thing and that I don't have to chase it all the way over here. Because right now its altitude is at a solid kilometer and change in the air. But yeah, as we shoot this lovely thing down, a few thoughts on the Aboleth. It's awesome. It is more effective against everything the Lightning Hoods have than anything I've built so far. Two of the Aboleths. Now, right now I have 4 of them spawned in, but 2 of them shot the Hippotos at the same time, pretty much as soon as it spawned, with their EMP guns, and just immediately shot it down. Or again, I guess shot it up. I am sort of blown away with how much the Aboleth hard counters the Lightning Hoods. And so first, thank you to the awesome person who recommended a submarine with an EMP particle cannon. And second, I'm very, very happy because so far we've been struggling against the Lightning Hoods. We've spent longer fighting the Lightning Hoods than we have against any 2 factions put together. And so to see us just completely annihilate this fleet, we didn't lose any ships. None of the Aboleths got below like 96% health. And yeah, and we were outnumbered, we were outgunned, We started with a much lower block count. We started with, you know, our resource count combined with the Aboleths was much lower than theirs. And yet, we have obliterated them. I'm very glad that I built the Dark Mantle, because the Dark Mantle was a very satisfying ship, because it sort of beats the Hippotos on its own terms. But the Aboleths are just sort of these terrors from the deep that come and wreck the Lightning Hoods, which is awesome. And this thing is going nuts. I love it. The Hippotos does not die quietly. We'll say that. But yeah, so expect really probably just maybe 2 more videos of fighting the Lightning Hoods. In the next part, I want to just sort of start pushing into their territory and taking over the bases and stuff. Part after that, we hopefully will destroy them, because I don't see anything the Lightning Hoods can do that can stop our Aboleths now. Especially, by the way, because if you can... I'm not sure if you can read that in the water there, where it says terawatt, terawatt, terawatt. But that's because I essentially just... When the Aboleth started firing at a terawatt, I'd swim over there and jump on top. And I wouldn't do anything. Excuse me. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't shoot its AI or anything like that. I would just stand on it and wait for the Aboleths to destroy its AI, because inevitably they would. We were getting hundreds of thousands of EMP damage against the terawatts, and they just completely fall apart. And right now I'm on board an Aboleth, and this is the same Aboleth that I've been on board for most of the fight. It's one of the 2 that I spawned at the start, and you can see it's used about a third of its fuel. And I know that this battle, the recording for this battle is probably going to be like 20 minutes. I've been in this battle for more like an hour. And yeah, it's down a third of its fuel, which is just amazing. So incredibly pleased with the Aboleth. It is exactly what I needed to fight the Lightning Hoods. It is just a brilliant, brilliant craft. So probably what I'll do is I'll do some of these battles off camera, just because they are very long battles. With the difficulty I have this game set on now, enemy fleets are very big. And they respawn quickly. And since I'm on the godly difficulty, they're also all the same ships over and over and over. And so it is kind of repetitive to watch, or it will be repetitive, I'm sure, to watch what would you call a group of Aboleths? I heard of a school of Aboleths. A school of Aboleths shoot down the same ships over and over and over. And so probably the next video will be me taking over a few spots, a few, maybe their resource deposits, something like that. And then the video after that will be the last fight with the Lightning Hoods, and then we'll just move on. Yes, thank you for giving us some victory balloons, Hippotos. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is what we've needed, the Aboleth. There wasn't really any contest. There was no point at which I thought, oh no, the Aboleths might lose this. It was the only problems we had were with the Aboleth's programming itself, which I need to fiddle with, because it didn't keep running into walls, but it doesn't sense walls as well as it should. And especially because it does go back and forth and up and down a lot while it fights. That can be problematic. But we did really well there. We did really well there. And I have probably over I have probably over 1 million resource worth of captured ships to get rid of right now. Which is going to be just great. Hey, there's 11,000. So yeah, so here's a terawatt. Here's a terawatt. Here's a terawatt. Which I captured. So feeling really good about this. And yeah, that's unfortunately all the time I have for today, as I ride the terawatt to victory. But thank you so much for watching. Again, we are going to be wrapping up the Lightning Hoods very soon, and the next group I want to fight is the Twin Guard. because I love the aesthetic of the Twin Guard. And I love the fact that you're basically fighting mechs when you're fighting the Twin Guard. And I don't know anybody who doesn't like mechs, especially mechs that are kind of creatively built mechs, where they have to float on a sort of base like the Twin Guard do. But we'll get to that eventually. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.